So hello and welcome back to learning about ratios. You will see that we moved on to lesson 3 today. We need to remember that ratios are two numbers. If you notice today in our title, the lesson says equivalent ratios. What word do you hear in equivalent? The word I hear is the word equal. Okay, so we're going to look at ratios that would be equal or equivalent to each other. All right, let's go down and let's look at exercise 1. Write a one-sentence story problem about a ratio. Well, go ahead and copy my story. Okay, my story says the ratio of the number of sunny days to the number of cloudy days in this town is 3 to 1. Go ahead and write down the story. If you need to pause, remember, pause the video. Remember, 3 stands for sunny. Why? Because sunny days was listed before cloudy days. So we put the numbers together. Cloudy was listed second, so the number 1 matches with cloudy. Okay, from the story that we wrote, it says we need to write the ratio in two different forms. Well, I wrote one already in my story, as you can see right there. I wrote 3 to 1. The other one that we know is with the word 2, 3 to 1. The last way, I know it only says 2, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce the third way so we already understand that. But remember, the third way is we can always write it as a fraction, 3 to 1. All 3 of these are ratios that say 3 to 1. The order matters. Make sure the 3 is in front first. Okay, remember, if you need to pause the video in order to get all this written down, please do so. Okay, moving down to exercise 2. Shanna and Mel are using ribbon to decorate a project in their art class. The ratio of the length of Shanna's ribbon to the length of Mel's ribbon is 7 to 3. Okay, so my ratio is 7 to 3. Who gets 7, Shanna or Mel? Looks like to me, since Shanna's name is listed first, Shanna gets the 7. And since Mel's name is listed second, he gets the 3. So it says down here, draw a tape diagram to represent this. So I'm going to label, remember, Shanna gets 7. Shanna gets 7. And Mel gets 3. So we're going to go ahead and write 7 tape to 3 tapes. Make sure you label. We want to make sure that they are assigned to the correct person. We can't have Mel have 7. Okay? Shanna has 7 to 3 and Mel has 3. Shanna's going to have more. Now, a tape, if you recall, means the amount in each box has to be the same. So, for example, I could say these are all 1s. If I have these as all 1s, Shanna has 3. Shanna has 7, and Mel has 3. That is the ratio of 7 to 3. All right, so if you notice, I erased the 1s. Okay, so all I want you to do is write these tapes 7 to 3 and write the ratio 7 to 3. Well, we could say that Shanna gets more ribbon and Mel gets more ribbon, but we still want to make an equivalent ratio. So this time, instead of maybe putting the number 1 in the boxes, maybe let's do a 2. Remember, if one box gets 2, they all have 2s. All right, so how much ribbon does Shanna have now? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. And Mel has 2, 4, 6. So my ratio now is 14 to 6. 14 to 6. We have what we call equivalent ratios. I didn't change the number of tapes, and I made sure that the amount in each box was the same. Now, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and erase the 2s and put 3s. All right, so I put 3s in the boxes now. Let's see what Shanna has now. Well, we have 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, which would be 21. And Mel has 3 times, which is 9. So my ratio now is 21 to 9. All 3 of my ratios are equivalent. Some of us might even look at the fact that, they're kind of a little bit like fractions. And if you remember, some of us have worked on simplifying fractions. All of these ratios are equivalent. Okay? Remember, order matters. Shanna's listed first, so the bigger number had to come first. All right, let's turn over to the next page. Okay, it says Mason and Laney ran laps to train for the long distance running team. The ratio of the number of laps Mason ran, here's Mason, to the number of laps Laney ran is 2 to 3. So who gets the 2 and who gets the 3? Okay, look, Mason is first, so the 2 goes to Mason. Laney is second, so he gets the 3. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. If Mason ran 4 miles, Mason's 4, how far did Laney run? We only have one number, so we have to solve the other one. Draw a tape diagram. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's look at our 2 people. We have Mason and Laney. So let's go ahead and write Mason and Laney. Now let's go back to the original story. The ratio is 2 to 3. So how many boxes do I get to make for Mason? Mason was first. Mason gets 2. How many boxes do I make for Laney? 3. Okay, so now we have made our tape diagram with our ratio 2 to 3. Now let's look at the problem. If Mason ran 4 miles, well, let's see, where's Mason? Here's Mason. Here's Mason. Mason's going to equal 4 miles total. Well, if I have to take 4 miles and divide it into 2 boxes, what would that be? Well, if I don't know, I'm going to take 4 and I'm going to divide it into 2 boxes. And, obviously the answer is 2. Well, that means each box is 2, which means each one of these boxes is 2. For a total, for Laney, 2, 4, 6, 8. So the question says, if Mason ran 4 miles, how far did Laney run? Laney ran 8 miles. Now we'll look at carefully. We started with the ratio 2 to 3. We made an equivalent ratio right here. We still had 2 to 3. I had the same boxes, but this time instead of putting 1s in each box, we put 2. So now we have a ratio of 4 to 8. Equivalent ratios. Let's go down to the next. If Laney ran 930 meters, how far did Mason run? Draw a tape diagram. Okay, well, we have to use the original ratio in the beginning. Mason and Laney, 2 to 3. So once again, we're going to make Mason, and yes, we need to label their names. Mason, remember Mason had 2, and Laney had 3. Okay, now we're not going to put 1s in here, because then that would be equal 2 and 3, and we're not going to put 2s in here, because that would only give us 4 miles and 8 miles. We need Laney to have 930. Well, here's Laney. Laney is right here, so he equals 930. I have to take 930 and divide it into 3 boxes. Now, some of you can do that in your head. Otherwise, I'll take the calculator. I'm going to take 930 miles. I'm going to divide it into 3 boxes, and I have 310. So that means in each box, I get to write 310. Same for Mason. Oh, well, how far did Mason run? 310 plus 310. And I get an answer of 620. Oh, look at this, though. I have another equivalent ratio, 620 to 930. right. Well, these answers that I put up here with my ratios, these are all equivalent because I changed the number in my tapes. Answer my question down here on C. So we're going to just copy all of these down here. We found out that 2 to 3 is the same as 4 to 8, and it's also the same as 620 to 930. Okay, let's flip over to the next page. All right, well, let's read the problem. It says that Josie took a long multiple choice end of year vocabulary test. The ratio of the number of problems Josie got incorrect to the number of problems she got correct was 2 to 9. If Josie missed 8 questions, how many did she get correct? All right, well, we have to go back and make our tapes. We have the word incorrect and correct. So let's go ahead and write here incorrect. And then the other one we have is correct. All right, our ratio is 2 to 9. We need to figure out which number goes with the incorrect and which number goes with the correct. Well, we notice in the problem I underlined incorrect first because it's the first word. It goes with the first number. So incorrect is going to get 2. Which means correct gets 9. So I need for you to make 9 boxes. Okay, the boxes don't have to be perfect, but you want to kind of make them line up as much as possible. So for example, I want 1 box to match here, 2 boxes to match there. Close as you can, but not perfect. So our ratio is 2 to 9. 2 to 9. Okay, right now 2 to 9 would mean I'd put a 1 in here, which would give me 2, 1, 1, 1, give me 9. But let's look at what the problem says. It says if Josie missed 8 questions. All right, 8 questions. If we miss them, are those the problems that are going to be incorrect or correct? Well, obviously, if we miss the problems, they're incorrect. So we're going to say the problems that Josie got incorrect were 8. Now I have to take 8 and divide it into 2 boxes. Some of you know how to do that, thankfully. 8 divided into 2 boxes gives me the answer 4. So I'm going to put 4 in all of the boxes, including correct. Okay, remember, if you need to pause the video to stay caught up, you can do that. Now let's go back and see what the problem says. If Josie missed 8 questions, she missed 8, how many did she get correct? So we need to find out how many is correct right here. We need to add all of these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 4s. So most of us know our multiplication facts. We know that 9 times 4 is 36. So when it says how many did she get correct, 36 correct. That answers my question. What is my new ratio that I made? The new ratio that I made was 8 to 36. 8 to 36. This ratio is equivalent to 2 to 9 because I did not change the number of tapes. Okay, let's go down to B. If Josie missed 20 questions, how many did she get correct? Once again, we have to make our original tape. So we're going to write here incorrect and correct. Let's make our tapes 2 to 9. Do not put the number 4 in this time because we have to find out what the problem is. So go ahead and make your tapes now. Okay, so we're using our original ratio, which was 2 to 9. 2 problems incorrect, 9 problems correct. Let's see what the problem says. If Josie missed 20 questions, that's a lot of questions. If she missed them, remember we decided missed means those are the ones that are incorrect. So that means these tapes right here have to equal 20. Okay, most of us know what 20 divided by 2 is. If I cut 20 in half, we know that the answer is 10. Okay, so we're going to put 10 in these boxes. Obviously, if 10 goes in these tapes, remember, these have the same number. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 10, most of us know is the answer, 90. So she has 90 problems correct and 20 problems wrong. What's my new ratio? We had 2 to 9. We found an equivalent of 8 to 36. This time, instead of putting the number 4s in the boxes, we put the number 10s, and we found a new ratio of 20 to 90. Could I write it this way if I wanted to? 90 to 20. No. Order matters. Remember, we want to make sure that the order stays the same. So once again, on the bottom, what ratios did we find that were equivalent? 2 to 9. 8 to 36. And 20 to 90. These three ratios are what we call equivalent. Okay, your Google form is going to be very similar to what we just did today. It looks wordy, but if you read the bold section, it will make it a little bit easier for you. Otherwise, reach out to your teachers and see if they can help you. See you all tomorrow.